Where is your emergency?
Jill Walker!
What's going on there?
I just tried to wake up my daughter for school, and she has no pulse.
How old is
She's 16.
Among her peers, Emma Walker was once a name that shone brightly in the tranquil town of Knoxville, Tennessee, in the state of Tennessee. Emma's life was tragically cut short in a case that has left an indelible mark on her community. She was known for her loveliness, her determination, and her vibrant spirit. Today, we delve into the history of Emma Walker, a young woman whose life and untimely death captured the attention of the entire nation with their tragic events. When Emma Walker was born, she was born in Knoxville, Tennessee, on April 15, 1998. Ever since she was a young child, Emma has been recognized for her captivating personality and boundless enthusiasm. The kind of person who could brighten up a room with her smile, Emma was the kind of person who grew up in a family environment that valued and supported her. The fact that she was the oldest of 3 siblings meant that she frequently took on the responsibilities of a caregiver and a role model for her younger siblings. Emma was a student who excelled in any subject she studied. She went to Central High School, where she was not only a conscientious student, but also a treasured friend to every single one of her classmates. Her teachers praised her for her dedication to her work and her willingness to assist others. The only thing that could compare to Emma's dedication to her extracurricular activities was her enthusiasm for what she was learning. She was a member of a number of different school clubs, one of which was the Key Club, where she participated in giving her time to a variety of community service projects. The fact that she participated in cheerleading was evidence of her intense passion for athletics. Emma was an important figure at her school's football games and other athletic events because she was a cheerleader for the school. By virtue of the fact that her vivacity and enthusiasm were contagious, she quickly became a favorite among both her teammates and her classmates. In addition to her unwavering commitment to her team, her presence was a representation of the school's support for the team. It was stated by Lauren Hutton, who was an experienced athlete on the team at the time that she met Walker, that Emma displayed a serious commitment to cheerleading. After that, the two were able to develop a close friendship. She had a contagious enthusiasm for life. It had a special place in her heart. She enjoyed taking the lead in football games, which were her favorite things to do. She thrived on the attention that she received as a member of the crowd. On the other hand, Emma's life was not solely comprised of her accomplishments and activities. In the same way that many other adolescents do, she was navigating the complexities of adolescence, which included her relationships and her goals for the future. Emma was a member of a tight-knit group of friends, and they frequently referred to her as the glue that prevented their social circle from falling apart. Because of her capacity to listen, empathize, and provide support to those around her, many people felt comfortable confiding in her. Throughout her endeavors, Emma's family was extremely supportive of her. Her parents, who had been married for more than 20 years, created a home that was both loving and secure for their children. The parents were very involved in their children's lives, as evidenced by their attendance at school events and their support of their academic and athletic endeavors. Emma's parents frequently expressed their pride in her achievements and their aspirations for her future in their daily conversations. Emma was not immune to the difficulties that come with being a teenager, despite the fact that she possessed a great deal of strength. She, like many others, was confronted with the challenges of academic performance, the dynamics of social relationships, and the unpredictability of the future. It was noted by her family and friends that Emma handled these pressures with grace and resilience, despite the fact that they were aware of them. Riley Gall, a fellow student at Central High School, was the person with whom Emma had just recently begun making romantic advances. Although at first glance this relationship appeared to be nothing more than a typical teenage romance, it would turn out to be an essential component in the tragic events that transpired in the future. Riley was initially seen as a positive influence by Emma's friends and family. However, as time progressed, concerns regarding the relationship began to emerge. Moving forward, we will now shift our attention to Riley Gall, the individual whose relationship with Emma Walker came to an end due to a series of unfortunate events. We are going to delve into the history of Riley Gall and investigate the occurrences that molded his path and ultimately resulted in a tragic outcome. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you can receive more in-depth analysis and updates on cases involving true crimes. As we continue to investigate and gain a better understanding of these complicated cases, your assistance and participation are absolutely necessary. The 21st of June, 1998 found Riley Gall being born in Knoxville, state of Tennessee. Emma Walker and Riley Walker both attended Central High School, which is where they first became acquainted. Riley grew up in the same city as Emma Walker. Riley gave off the impression of being a typical adolescent by appearance. Although he was well known among his contemporaries, from the beginning he did not stand out in any particular way. On closer inspection, however, one would discover that beneath this seemingly ordinary exterior were aspects of his personality and history that would prove to be significant in the unfolding tragedy. Those who knew Riley were aware of his reputation for being affable and charming. His friends came from a wide range of backgrounds, and he was active in a number of different social circles. Because of his participation in a variety of high school activities and social gatherings, he became a well-known figure at Central High. Nevertheless, as we will see in the following section, his public persona was a striking contrast to the problematic behaviors that surfaced over the course of time. It is important to note that Riley's relationship with Emma Walker was one of the most significant aspects of his background. At first glance, their relationship appeared to be typical of high school students since it was characterized by the excitement and intensity of love between young people. Nevertheless, as the development of the relationship progressed, concerning signs started to emerge. Despite his initially friendly demeanor, Riley would later be described by Emma's friends and family as becoming increasingly possessive and controlling. These characteristics were in direct contrast to his initial demeanor. Walker and Gall appeared to transform into the stereotypical high school couple over the course of the subsequent 2 years. They were the kind of couple that perpetually broke up and then got back together again over and over again. Those who were close to the couple claimed that they would get into really dramatic arguments over trivial matters such as text messages or posts on Snapchat. As a result of Riley's actions within the context of the relationship, Emma's friends began to express concern. Various aspects of Emma's life were reportedly under his control, and he displayed signs of jealousy and manipulation, according to different reports. In the course of the investigation into Emma's murder, this pattern of behavior would eventually become an essential component. The personal history of Riley Gall was marked by incidents that raised red flags, and these incidents occurred outside of his relationship with Emma. In the time leading up to the murder, there were multiple reports of Riley's problematic behavior, which included allegations that he had threatened Emma and threatened her with harassment. In spite of the fact that those around him did not take these behaviors lightly, the gravity of the situation was not fully understood until it was too late to do anything about it. In spite of the fact that Riley's academic and social life appeared to be normal, she experienced bouts of anger and aggression on occasion. Teachers and classmates recalled instances in which Riley's demeanor shifted in an unpredictable manner. However, these instances were frequently written off as the result of teenage angst. On the other hand, when viewed in hindsight, these incidents might have been early indicators of more fundamental problems that ended up contributing to the tragic events that followed. It was unsuccessful for Walker's parents to prevent their daughter from communicating with Gall by removing her cell phone and preventing him from entering the house. However, they did try to prevent their daughter from communicating with Gall. The unfortunate end of Riley Gall's relationship with Emma Walker occurred on November 21, 2016, and it was a tragic event. A fatal gunshot wound was the cause of Emma's death, which was discovered a few hours later in her residence. As a result of the deteriorating nature of their relationship and the pattern of problematic behavior that had been observed in the past, the investigation quickly shifted its focus to Riley. Soon after, Riley was taken into custody and charged with the murder of Emma. There was a police response that took place at the residence of Walker. Nikki Buells, who was the primary forensic expert working on the case, stated that the initial report was taken as a possible suicide. She is employed by the Knox County Sheriff's Office. The arrest of Riley came as a shock to many people who had known him, as the seriousness of the situation became more accessible. A narrative that was both jarring and unsettling was produced as a result of the contrast between the image of the charming teenager and the accused murderer. During the course of the legal proceedings, Riley's history and behavior were investigated, which led to the discovery of a pattern of control and violence that resulted in devastating consequences. The Knox County Sheriff's Office Lieutenant Alan Merritt stated that upon arriving at the scene, he began to examine the exterior of the residence and noticed a bullet hole in the wall that measured about shoulder high. Merritt noticed the hole when he was examining the exterior of the residence. 2 shell casings were visible to him when he looked outside the house, which led him to believe that someone had fired 2 shots. While he was walking around the exterior of the house, he came across a second bullet hole. This one was located on the opposite side of the structure and was approximately the same height as the first one. As we investigate Riley Gall's history, we come to realize that he is a multifaceted person whose actions and behaviors were a significant contributor to the tragic events that transpired in the aftermath of Emma Walker's passing. It is essential to have a solid understanding of his past as well as the dynamics of his relationship with Emma in order to have a complete understanding of the scope of this case. In order to comprehend the complete repercussions of a tragic occurrence, it is essential to investigate the sequence of events that led up to it. We are going to dissect the chain of occurrences that led up to the murder of Emma Walker, focusing on the specific moments that played a significant role in determining the tragic outcome. Beginning in the months leading up to November 2016, the story takes place during a time period that is characterized by rising levels of tension and concern. The relationship between Emma Walker and Riley Gall, which had previously been characterized by the typical excitement of adolescence, started to show signs of strain. During the course of the relationship, Riley's friends and family observed subtle but concerning changes in his behavior, which became more pronounced as the arrangement continued. During the summer of 2016, Emma and Riley's interactions began to take a more sinister turn. There were rumors that Riley was acting in a controlling manner and was jealous, and Emma's friends noticed with growing concern that these things were happening. Despite the fact that Emma maintained a cheerful and upbeat demeanor, she started exhibiting signs of distress, which was a change that was not missed by those who were in her immediate vicinity. At the beginning of the fall semester, Emma and Riley's tension between each other became more intense. Emma's friends have reported that Riley's possessiveness and attempts to isolate Emma from her social circle have become increasingly prevalent within the past few months. At this time, there were a number of disagreements and confrontations, which added stress to a relationship that was already experiencing a lot of turmoil. Within the month of October in 2016, the circumstance had significantly deteriorated. There were multiple instances in which Riley's behavior crossed the line into threatening territory, and Emma's friends and family were extremely concerned about her. Despite the fact that Emma's parents were made aware of the problems, Riley's controlling nature was not yet fully revealed to them. One of the most significant days in the timeline was the 21st of November, 2016. The evening in question found Emma at her residence, getting ready for bed. Riley had a distinct motivation and an opportunity, despite the fact that he had been becoming more volatile. In accordance with the findings of the investigation, Riley's actions that evening were planned out in advance. It was reported that he had discussed his intentions with other people, which contributed to the revelation of the seriousness of his plans. Within the confines of her own residence, Emma was discovered dead from a gunshot wound to the head. In a short amount of time, the investigation conducted by the police focused on Riley Gall, who was identified as the primary suspect due to his problematic behavior and increasing threats. Immediately after Riley was taken into custody and charged with Emma's murder, the investigation into the circumstances that led up to her passing was launched in earnest. The sequence of events that led up to the murder of Emma Walker serves as a sobering reminder of the warning signs that were present but possibly not fully recognized at the time of the investigation. In this chain of unfortunate occurrences, every single moment played a part in bringing about the tragic outcome, which painted a picture of a relationship that was characterized by control and violence. It was discovered that Emma had been shot in the head in her bedroom, where she had been concealed. The fact that the crime took place inside the house was significant because it indicated that Emma was most likely in a state of repose or getting ready to sleep at the time that the assault took place. Despite the fact that Emma's belongings and personal items were not damaged, the photographs taken at the crime scene revealed a peaceful yet unsettling environment. This was in stark contrast to the violent events that had taken place. During the course of the investigation, specifically a firearm, was an essential piece of evidence. In the end, the gun that was used in the crime was followed back to Riley Gall, which established a direct connection between him and the murder. The nature of the assault was uncovered through the forensic investigation of the crime scene, which provided essential clarification. Both the area where the bullet wound was located and the path that the bullet took indicated that Emma was most likely the intended target of the attack. The brutal and personal nature of the attack was brought out by the contrast between the peaceful setting of her bedroom and the violent nature of the crime. A further revelation that emerged from the details of the crime scene was the emotional impact that Emma's death had on her family and the community. Keeping in mind the seriousness of the situation, the police and forensic teams worked diligently to collect evidence while maintaining a respectful attitude. An exhaustive investigation was conducted at the scene of the crime, with the purpose of putting together the events that led up to Emma's death and gaining an understanding of the reasons that led to the commission of the crime. Riley's digital footprint was also investigated by the police, which included his activity on social media platforms and his text messages. By establishing a timeline of events and gaining an understanding of Riley's mental state in the moments leading up to the murder, this digital evidence proved to be extremely helpful. Riley was further implicated in the crime after it was discovered that he had made statements that were threatening and that he had been involved in arguments with Emma. In the aftermath of a particularly heinous crime, the legal process is an essential component of the pursuit of justice. In today's lesson, we will discuss the charges and court proceedings that are associated with the murder of Emma Walker. We will also investigate the manner in which the legal system dealt with the case and the actions that were taken to ensure that the responsible party is held accountable. The jury decided that Riley Gall was responsible for the first-degree murder in February of 2018. A significant moment in the case, the verdict marked a step towards justice for Emma Walker. It was another step in the right direction. The next phase was the sentencing phase, during which the court decided what the appropriate punishment should be for Riley's actions. The murder of Emma Walker garnered a significant amount of attention from the media, with news outlets and publications from all over the country covering the case. A larger number of people were exposed to Emma's story as a result of the media coverage, which brought attention to the tragic nature of the crime as well as the specifics of the investigation. The shocking aspects of the case, such as the involvement of Riley Gall and the disturbing nature of the crime, were the primary focus of the reports. There was a mixture of disbelief and grief among the general public. The passing of Emma touched the hearts of many people, which resulted in an outpouring of support for her family and the community she lived in. In order to pay tribute to Emma's memory, memorials and vigils were held, and her story became a symbol of the larger problems associated with relationship violence and the significance of addressing warning signs. Thank you for being here with us as we discuss the aftermath of Emma Walker's case and the current status of the investigation. Through this all-encompassing coverage, we hope that you have gained valuable insights into her story and the ongoing efforts that are being made to make a difference. To ensure that you are kept up to date with our ongoing investigation of true crime cases, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon.